This is Eagle News, Washington, D.C., and I am Jennifer Polentan. Philippine Consul General Renato Pedro in Washington, D.C., spoke to Eagle News and encouraged Filipino overseas voters to accomplish their ballots and to ensure mailing them before May 13th this year. Eliza Gonzalez Maclikmot with the details.
The month-long overseas voting for the Philippine midterm elections has started April 13 and will continue until May 13, giving a chance for Filipinos living outside the Philippines to cast their picks for 12 seats in the Senate, all seats in the House of Representatives, plus regional, provincial, city, and municipal level elected positions. Joining Eagle News today is Consul General Renato Pedro of the Philippine Embassy here in Washington, D.C., to share with us more information about the elections. Thank you for joining us, Consul General.
Thank you for the opportunity to for covering the elections here in the U.S.
Consul General, could you explain to us how did overseas voting come to place?
There was a clamor from the overseas Filipino workers and their families for them to participate in the voting process, to have a say in our political and economic future. Since they have contributed a lot, they are also contributing to our prosperity, to our progress. So in 2003, the Overseas Voting Act was enacted, and the first voting exercise for overseas Filipinos was in 2004. Yeah, so there has been 5 voting exercises. The last was in 2016, where the overseas Filipinos participated. Filipinos aged at least 18 years old, and there is no discrimination whether an overseas Filipino is documented or undocumented. Yes, they can participate. The mode of voting in the U.S. is postal voting, since they have a very efficient postal system. But in some other jurisdiction, like in the whole of the Middle East, the mode of voting is personal voting. But of course, overseas Filipinos are given 1 month in which to vote, those who have registered. Postal voting, we received the certified list of voters from the COMELEC, and then the COMELEC sent the ballots to us together with the mailing packets, and then we, within that 1 month period, we mailed them to all the qualified voters. Here in DC, there are more than 37,000. And in the whole of the U.S., 224,000 qualified voters. And we expect to mail them out within a 2-week period, and then hopefully the turnout will be as good as in 2016. We reached a turnout 30% here in the U.S. We managed to register more than 16,000 new registrants. That's why the total now is 37,000. But there were around 7,000 who were deactivated. A voter can be activated if he or she fails to vote in 2 consecutive voting exercises. Then they are no longer eligible to vote. They are deactivated. But in the next registration exercise, they can register again to be eligible again to vote. Personal voting, there are also challenges. I was cross-posted here from Kuwait, and I was also the chair of the board of canvassers there. And I would say that in personal voting, there are also challenges, because in Kuwait, more than 60% of our workers there are domestic workers, and many of the employers do not allow them to have an off day or even for voting. So we had around just 20% turnout in 2016, and of course for postal voting we just rely the, say, patriotism or willingness of the voter to mail back the ballot.
ConGen, aside from when and how to vote overseas, are there any special instructions or reminders that voters need to know regarding this year's midterms?
Yes, just when you receive the ballot, make sure that you accomplish the ballot carefully. For senators, you only have to choose 12. If you choose more than 12, then it will become invalid. And for party list voting, you can only choose one for the party list. If you choose two or more than one, and then the vote for the party list will be invalid. So, and then make sure that when you return the ballot, you seal it back and sign the ballot. We have the Board of Reception and Custody group received the ballots, the mailing packets, and every Mondays and Thursday, the Board of Election Inspectors will feed the vote counting machines, and then they will seal again the vote after the feeding of the ballots in that particular day, and this is open to the public. And then on May 13, the SBEI, Board of Election Inspectors, will turn over the certificate of votes, the summary of the statements of votes, and all the SD cards by precinct. By the way, there is one SD card per precinct. So they will turn it over on May 13 after they have finished the counting. And then the canvassing will start and on May 13 until all the votes in the U.S., in our jurisdiction, are counted, and the public are also invited to witness the canvassing on May 13 and onwards. Because you must participate in this democratic exercise. You must have a say in the future of yourself and your family, and your vote counts. Especially if there is if the 12th and 13th place in the senatorial election will be very close. Now, of course, also the party list. You also determine which party list the party list parties will represent you in Congress. So I will wish to reiterate, once you receive your ballot from the mail, send it as soon as possible, accomplish the ballot carefully, and then seal it, and then send it back to us. I believe the stamp is not too much. It's just $1.30 here in the U.S.
ConGen, the last day is May 13. Does it mean the stamp on the mail has to be May 13, or you have to receive it by May?
We have to receive it on May 13.
If you're eligible, exercise your right because your vote counts. Reporting from the Consular Office of the Philippine Embassy here in Washington, D.C., I am Eliza Gonzalez Manglekmot for Eagle News, 1 with 25.
Thank you, Eliza. That is today's Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Join us tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at Eaglenews.PH and EagleNewsLive.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. Thank you for watching. I am Jennifer Politan, and I am 1 with 25.